What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Future Knight Eric here, and I'm coming at you with my updated post-Banlist Labrynth deck profile. Now, obviously, the Banlist has been implemented for quite some time, or at least it's been released for quite some time. Dropping on the day that I was busy playing Nats. That was, of course, the Nationals that I topped, coming third place here in South Africa. And I thought I would just profile the updates that I've made to the deck post that ban list. The deck hasn't changed all that much from my Nationals deck profile. If you haven't seen that already, I definitely suggest you have a look. That was recorded by my good friend and teammate Ronan from Team Based Cooking. And I just thought I would show my approach to the deck post that ban list, moving into the new format that's starting to settle. We obviously see Cash Terror still being a relevant deck in the meta, as well as Sprite variants running around, as well as Rika, and so on and so forth. So I thought I'd give it a go and show my best version for the deck for this format. Spoiler alert, this is a trap version of the deck, not an IKEA. I personally do not see why the IKEA version is generally considered better. I feel like it loses to more common cards in the main deck than the trap version. Of course, the trap version still loses to blowout cards such as Evenly, Lightning Storm, and Harpies, but there's ways that we can stop those cards. Whereas things like hand traps like Ash and Bell make it extremely difficult for the deck to play, especially if you're playing the IKEA version. However, you can see we are playing some Spice here. The Spice was inspired slightly, but actually has been done in my previous deck profiles for quite some time. So shoutouts to Dinh-Kah for topping and winning that German Nationals, and creating the buzz around this deck and the buzz around one card in particular. So yeah, without further ado, I think we can just get straight into the deck profile. This is going to be a relatively quick deck profile, I hope. There's not too much to explain. Like I said, very minuscule differences from my Nats list. I have taken this to 2 locals since Nats, and I topped both of them, just missing out on those wins. But I can't remember the last time I didn't top or win a locals with this deck. So of course we are playing 3 Lady. We only have the 2 Starlights, unfortunately, but they are absolutely stunning. With the 25th anniversary secrets, I might just pick up one of those to make it look like I have 3 Starlights, but definitely want to get 3 Starlights in the future. This card's the best card in your deck. Anyone who says play 2 is wrong. I think even in the IKEA version, you have to play 3 of this card. It is your follow-up, it is your grind, it is your beatdown, it is everything. This card is absolutely insane. Because we are playing the trap version, I decided to maximize my ratios on Orianna. This is just because you need access to engine to be able to play, even with the trap version. Obviously, in the IKEA version, every other card is access to engine, but your engine only does one thing over and over, and if they stop that, you have nothing else to play with. With the trap version, you at least have other cards that you can stall with and play with until you get back into your engine, and that's the idea behind Orianna. Even if Orianna gets stopped with Ash, Imperm, Veiler, you have the body so that your big welcome is still impactful as a pop, or as a follow-up. If you have Lady, Summon Lady, you can bounce Orianna for your next turn, which is absolutely insane. So definitely think you have to maximize on this, just because Gamma is no longer in the format. If Gamma's in the format, this becomes a lot worse, because when they Gamma this, you lose the body as well. We are still playing the 1 Lovely and the 1 Clock. I did think about bumping up Clock to 2, and actually for one of the locals that I think I came second, I did play 2 Coup Clock. Every hand where I see Coup Clock, I end up winning, but it's kind of weird because every hand you see 2 Coup Clock, you just lose. So it's a very weird dynamic, and I sort of went back and forth between 2 and 1, but then when I maxed out my ratios of Orianna, I decided 1 Coup Clock is fine, just because we have more access to it. And then of course Lovely, the brick, but you cannot play the deck without it. Absolutely insane card. Then a card that a lot of Labrynth players are cutting, that I think you can't/shouldn't cut, is Wannabe. The correct ratio is probably 2, but I just love this card so much that I decided to play it at 3. This list is 40, which is slightly different from my Nats list, which was 42. Maxing out on this is absolutely awesome. Being able to resolve this going first is insane. Being able to dig for those traps that you need in your particular matchups or for engine. And this is sort of my answer to the furniture version. Instead of playing the furniture to get into engine, I'd play this, which doesn't neg you and also has synergy with your ladies to make Chaos Angels. Card's absolutely insane. Only matchup it's really dead against is something like, I guess, Flunder if they shifter you, or Kashtera. But against everything else, this is super, super strong. Sometimes, I mean, pre-Banlist, my opponent would gamma this just because of the threat that it holds. Being able to set that trap and then use it when I'm playing in my turn, even as a going second card, is absolutely insane. We are still playing Triple Ash just for Rogue and Branded, which is one of our worst matchups. You have to play this card, I'm pretty sure, in this deck. Branded is such a rough matchup for this deck that you need to have this card in some capacity, either in your main or your side deck. Then we are, of course, playing 3 Prosperity. This is another reason I don't like the IKEA version. You can't play this card in the IKEA version. You need to be able to draw 2 cards to get advantage, because you're obviously technically going neg 1 every time you furniture. Of course, the furniture combo sometimes resolves in you going like +3 or 4. But if it gets stopped, of course, you're just negging yourself even harder. So this card being able to dig for any card we need, whether it's engine, whether it's blowout cards, it's absolutely necessary. It's the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't see why you wouldn't play it. Then, of course, we are on the 3 big and the 3 welcome. This is not the IKEA version. I know the IKEA version uses 2 welcome usually. I am getting my secret upgrades relatively soon. Not sure about the quarter centuries, a little bit pricey for me, he says, with 2 starlights, but I think the 3rd starlight lady is more important than the quarter centuries of those. Absolutely insane cards, of course. The recursion and the way you play with those is what makes or break your game. For my utility traps, I'm on 2 punishments. Kind of want to play this at 3, but the hard ones per turn makes it a bit iffy. I'm still on 2 compulse. A lot of lab players are cutting this card entirely. I think this card's insane, being able to interact with your own cards. Sometimes when your opponent doesn't do much, you don't want to give them cards back. You'd rather give yourself cards back to trigger your Ariana, your Lovely, your Welcomes. And I just think there's so much utility with this card in the deck that it's impossible to cut. If you're going to, get this down to the absolute minimum, you should play 1. But I still think 2 is really, really strong. Of course, our blowout cards, we're playing 1 D barrier, 1 Karma Cannon. Kind of want to play this at 2. Card's insane. And then, of course, the card that everyone's talking about, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I don't actually like this card. I don't like getting rid of my resource to potentially blow out my opponent's hand. Of course, in that finals with Dinh-Kah in the German Nationals, it paid off, exceptionally well, being able to pop the monster with their Lovely and get rid of all the spells against that Kashtera player. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you call spells, they show you a hand and there's not a single spell. Sometimes you call traps, they show your hand, their hand, and there's not a single trap. Like, I don't really get it. The payoff is very, very sacky and luck dependent, very much like the card. I do understand why people would advocate for it getting banned, but Lady getting banned, that's absolutely absurd. But card's insane. That is a new addition to the main deck. Like I said, I don't really like the card. It's very, very sacky, and for that same reason, I don't play another card, which we'll get into very shortly. I am still playing the 1 tiers of the Overroot. I don't think this card is very good. This probably should be the 2nd Karma Cannon, but against other back row decks, this card's really strong, because when you go Dogmatica Punishment, you're popping the monster, sending an Entis, popping a back row. Lovely then pops a back row, and then you got the Terrors to get rid of a 3rd. So if they go set 5, or if they have a monster plus set 4, you actually pretty much break the entire board. So I still think the card has to be played in some capacity, and just being able to out floodgates as well is really, really strong. I'm playing 3 Imperm just for that spicy, Imperm and then Lady in the end phase type plays. Also just a normal trap that's sometimes a little bit easier to resolve than some of the others. Sometimes you're under shifter, can't use punishment. Sometimes the compulse doesn't do much. And sometimes just leaving them with the body is enough. And then we are playing the 3 strike. This is absolutely one of the best cards in the deck. In my Nats profile, I say it is the best card in my deck, and I think that's true. Being able to resolve your cards without worrying is absolutely insane. Being able to stop the ashes and the bowls. This is a staple in the deck for me. I don't think I'll ever cut it, at least in the trap version. And then the final card I'm playing, if you're expecting skill drain, you're wrong. I am playing a Floodgate. It is Gozen. Absolutely insane this format against Kashtera, against Sky Striker, against Sprites. Cards absolutely nuts. No skill drain. I really don't like how the card functions. I don't like that it hinders our deck as much as it hinders the decks that it's good into. And yeah, I just don't like the game state that it creates when you flip it. It literally turns the game off. It feels like I'm playing Ooga Booga Yu-Gi-Oh! Rather than a skillful game, which is what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. Gozen, definitely think it's necessary, all our stuff being dark. And yeah, that is a clean 40 for the main deck. I don't think I'll change anything too much. You could argue to cut Wannabe as well as the Eradicator to the side, which, is all good and well. For maybe some more blowout cards such as Evenly, you could cut the Wannabes for Evenlies in the main. But yeah, that's the main deck that I've decided to go with. For the extra deck, we're playing the 1 Chaos Angel. Of course, we're not playing Extravagance, so we only need to play 1, which is phenomenal. We play the 1 Malong, which is basically an extra copy of Ventus, just bounces instead of pops. We are playing the 1 Mirrorlogic Aggregator. This is strictly for the Flunder matchup. You punishment their normal summon, their Robina. Once they summon the Eaglin, they're chain link 1, you're chain link 2 to negate the Eaglin, and then they just pass. We are playing Super Poly, as you saw in that opening shot. So we are playing the cards that respect Branded, because Branded, again, is a very rough matchup. These cards are insane. This card won me one of my matches in the Nationals. Other Super Poly targets, Mudragon and Tugarura. The Tugarura is obviously for Super Poly, but it is also for our Link 5s, which send it to draw a card. Also being 3/5 is insane. That's the only reason we play 2. The final Dogmatica punishment targets are Entus. We just played the 2 Entus because we're obviously playing them along. You can cut them along and play a 3rd Entus, or the Skull Knight if you'd like, the one that's a delayed pop. And then the final 2 cards, thank goodness Mind Hack is banned, because now I don't have to play multiples of these, is 1 Lingaribo and 1 Muckracker. Probably want to play 2 Muckracker. It's the only card in your extra deck you ever actually make besides the Super Poly stuff. But for now, we're just playing the 1. Then moving into the side, which is where you'll see a lot of cards that Dinh-Kah was main decking. I prefer them in the side just because of the wannabe plays, and I feel like the removal traps plus the strikes in the main break boards just as efficiently as these, going second cards would being in the main, and at least those cards going first are extremely strong as well. We're playing the 3 Super Poly. I've been on this for the absolute longest time, into the mirror, into Branded, into sometimes Kashtera, normal summon Ariana, effect Ariana, Arise Heart, you just Super Poly it away, the 2 darks. For Mudragon with the different types, of course I've got the Starving Venom in there now just for that. I saw that play by Dinh-Kah, so shout outs to him. He did main deck this, but I've been on this for the longest time. I think this card's insane. You can't respond. Why would you not play it? Harpy's Feather Duster just for the mirror. I think it's a card that you can't really ever cut from your side. The extra D barrier for the Branded and Sword Soul matchup, and the extra Eradicator Virus for the Flunderies, Kashtera and Runic matchup. Then we are, of course, on 3 Anti-Spell. This is to stop your blowout cards like Lightning and Harpies. Evenly, sometimes you can play around. If you decide to play Lord of the Heavenly Prison, then your deck plays around evenly like it's nothing, which is awesome, because you keep the 1 trap that you can activate. You special lady, you activate your trap, you chain your lady, set another trap, and then your lord obviously triggers to summon and set another trap, and then you've just got 2 huge bodies that your opponent now has to deal with, plus 2 traps set in that turn for your next turn. But yeah, anti-spell's insane. As long as it's not banned, we'll play it. Like I said, evenly, I think has to, in some capacity, be played in the deck. Because I'm playing a wannabe, I can't obviously play it in the main, but we have it here on the side for when we know we're going second. And then finally, a card that I'm probably going to switch for Lava Golems is 3 Gamma Seal. I still don't like that Lava Golem conflicts with the normal summon, even though when you do side in the Lava Golems, you'll probably take out an Ariana. Drawing Ariana Lava Golem sucks, and it happens a lot more than you'd think. So for now, we're just sticking with the Kaijus, which I main decked for Nats and was absolutely insane. And yep, that is pretty much it for the deck profile, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that was a relatively quick deck profile. Again, there's a lot of hype surrounding Labrynth at the moment, so I thought I'd just quickly show off my updated version of the deck. And of course, we are on our Nats Matt here, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile, ladies and gentlemen. This is Future Knight signing out.